A small video about how the balancing is done. So it is a dewatering pump impeller. Since you are learning the turbo machine simultaneously, it is a dewatering pump impeller that needs to be balanced, and what you see is that impeller will be taken and placed on a balancing machine. So you will see how the balancing machine, what are the dimensions and all that. So before balancing it was shaking like this. So it is, you can see some sensors. The impeller will be placed and you have the sensors here, the accelerometers which will measure the acceleration. Then there are few stages of measurements of balancing. That's what they are going to explain. So the impeller is first run, that is called a trial run. Then they will add some known unbalance to that system. Again measurements are done. Based on that it will be able to calculate what is the balancing masses, at what angle, at what radius it should be placed. Then that's what they are fixing. So you see that the masses are added to achieve the balance. Okay. So what you have to do is, in a balancing machine you have to keep your rotor run, that is called a first run or trial run. Then you have to, next run you add an unbalanced mass intentionally at a known location and known radius, feed that into the program, run it again. Then it will be able to calculate what is the original unbalanced mass. Then it will tell you where to add the correction masses that you have to weigh and then add it. So this is the procedure to be followed in a balancing machine. I will show you one more video maybe of So here you can see that the turbine has a number of rotor planes. Okay, so you cannot disturb these planes for balancing because they are supposed to allow the flow of the steam through it. So they have provided specially planes on which the balancing can be done. Okay, they have added rotors where balancing can be done specially.
I think there's some sound.
Now this is about the motorcycle wheel balancer. Because this is going to be in a gravitational field, you have to align it properly, otherwise that itself will induce some error in your calculations. So now it is suspended on bearing so that it is free to rotate. If there is any static unbalance, it will come to the stop at the bottommost point. Now we will back to the business of this balancing of several masses located in several planes like this. I said there are two methods. We discussed one method last class. So I said method 1 can be called as a force method, then method 2 will be called as the couple method. So you have force method and a couple method. Force method, if you quickly recall, that what we are thinking is taking one mass at a time, find out the balancing masses to be provided in two planes. So we work out that the balancing masses to be provided for considering one mass at a time. For example, m1 at a time, and find out these two. Then you look at the second mass alone, then find out the balancing masses to be provided in the plane L and M. Similarly, you proceed for each and every unbalanced mass, and you will get to know what are the balancing masses to be provided in plane L. Then you find out the resultant, not the equivalent. You find out the resultant mass to be provided. So once you do that, you will get to the net mass to be provided at the plane L and M. So that if you fix it there, it will cancel, it will balance the total system. So that is the principle of the method 1, force method. Method 2 is a couple method, in which the principle is little different, but I'll tell you that if you calculate the unbalanced masses to be provided at plane L and M using any of the method, it should result to the same values. There should not be any difference. So what is this method, couple method? You consider plane L, or you consider any plane. For example, this is my plane that is matching with the board, and my unbalanced masses are like this. The balancing planes are perpendicular to this. My unbalanced masses are there. Think about only one mass now. This is going to, as it rotates, it is going to produce one inertial force in this direction. Okay? So I will transfer this force to this plane. Similarly, I will transfer all the inertial forces produced by these masses in this plane and find out the net forces and couple and balance it. Find out the equivalent force that you have to give to balance the system of forces. Find out the equivalent couple that should be introduced so that system is balanced. So instead of taking 4 at a time, you think of one mass at a time. For example, there is a mass M located, say M1 is like this, so it is at a particular distance D. This magnitude of this force vector, you have to think of a shaft here. The magnitude of this will be given by that force vector is given by m1 r1 omega square, and the distance between that plane and this supposedly L1. I'm sorry, this is your force, and this force is here. I shift this force is away from this plane. I want to shift this force here. Then you have learnt now that if I shift the force F to this plane, it will have a force and a couple. So this is the force, this is the distance, at what direction the couple will be. So it will be the couple vector, say this will be introducing a couple, that's what we have been discussing. But this couple, if you think of, this is going to be from here, it will be like this. So the vector direction be like this. Alright? So the force will be, vector will be in this direction, the couple vector will be in this direction. So I can introduce this couple vector here. So this is F1, this is C1. Let me repeat it. There is a force here. That force comes out of the unbalanced mass. So there is a force here. That force, I am shifting it to this plane. When I shift it, it will have a force on the couple. So earlier we were not representing that couple as a vector. We were just saying couple is represented like this. That's all. Or we represented that as a torque T. But if you represent that properly as a vector, that should be perpendicular to the plane. So here the direction is important because we are having a force here that is be shifted by the same magnitude and the direction is conserved. But when you come to the couple, it will be here in the anti-clockwise direction. That means it will be going up. So isn't it? You can check like this, it's going up. So your couple vector will be like this. Your force vector and couple vector will be there. That will be perpendicular to each other. There is no issue about it. Both will be perpendicular to each other. So in the method 2, what I will do is, I will transfer the force, inertial force created by every mass into a single plane. Okay, so in this case I will take this plane as L. So I have taken, suppose for example A2, I would shift here. Suppose I take the mass at A3, unbalanced mass A3. Again that will introduce, so here if you see that this is, okay, this is how I shift it in principle. If you look at our specific problem here, this is the orientation of the masses. So let me take like this, I will rub this, I'll go by according to this. I'll have say M2. I'll take M2. The orientation of the force created by M2 will be like this. That is F2. And the couple is represented like this. I'll now take A3. That is a plane M3 is there. So the force will be along this direction. That is your M3. So I can take that M3 like this. That is your F3. The force, that is the couple, will be created by M3 as perpendicular to this. That's C3. Then you have A4, that is here in this direction. So the force will be like this. This is up 4. The couple will be perpendicular to it, that is C4. The forces created by each unbalanced force and the couple is represented like this. But I have not talked about this A1. The reason is that the difference between A1 and the other three planes is that this A2, A3, A4 are on one side of the plane, whereas A1 is on the other side of the plane. So on the other side of the plane means a couple will be in the opposite direction. Okay? So if I take M1 here, See what I have done, you check it up that the force F2 is here, couple is there by turning this in the anti-clockwise direction. The force vector is there, the couple vector is turned, but the direction is measured by 90 degree by turning this 90 degree in the anti-clockwise direction. This is what happens to the masses located in one side of the plane. For other side of the plane, if the mass is located on the other side of the plane, the force is like this, F1. The couple will be, in the opposite direction. It has to be turned like this. So the principle that we are using here is shift all the forces to a single balancing plane. There the procedure or the important points to be noted is, if you are assuming that you are indicating this, whatever the mass is in one side of the plane, the couple vector will be turned by turning this force vector by the anti-clockwise direction, you will get it. For the other side, it will be in the opposite direction, that is clockwise. So that is the basic this thing. Now effectively you have transferred all the forces and couple to a single plane. You have any doubt? Now what we are going to do, what is the value of this couple? We have not discussed that. The value of the couple C is given by, in the F1 this is C1, that is M1 R1 omega square into the distance between that plane and this, suppose that is L1, that is this. Okay, so here you look at the couple vectors and force vectors. Drawing a force vectors are easy because you have to simply find out the angle at which the masses are kept. That is the same direction you draw. F1, F2, F3, F4, they all will have the same orientation at which the masses are there. But what about the couple? That is the nuisance. You have to see that it is turned by 90 degrees. If it is in one side of the plane, it should be turned in one direction. The other side of the plane should be turned in the opposite direction. That is what you have to do it carefully. Now, just let us ask whether any simplification is possible. In balancing problem, in the first method, we have simplified, instead of drawing the force diagram, if you ignore omega square, we just take the quantity M1 R1, still it was representing the scaled down version of the force. It served the purpose. I don't have to calculate omega square every time, multiply that omega square. So I could, for balancing problem only, the force diagram can be a scaled version, dividing that by omega square. Here, in a couple, also we will take omega square out, but is there any other way to avoid this confusion? So what will happen if I turn this entire couple system by 90 degrees in the clockwise direction? So now what I am suggesting is turn the couple vectors by 90 degree clockwise. Listen carefully. What will happen if I turn each couple vector by 90 degrees clockwise? So this is a couple vector C2, turn it by 90 degrees, it will be along the force vector. C3 if I turn by 90 degrees it will be along the direction of the force vector. C4 if I turn it by 90 degrees it will be along the force vector. C1 if I turn it by 90 degrees like this, it will be opposite to the direction of the force vector. So in balancing problem only, so here very careful not to repeat it in other places. In balancing problems, if you turn the couple vectors by 90 degree in the clockwise, the direction of the couple vectors become very simple. What you have to remember is the couple vector also will have the same direction as force vectors for masses which are located on say one side of it, that is say right hand side. The left hand side it will be, you have to take it is in the opposite direction. If you take that, you are free to draw the couple vectors also in the same direction. Then for equilibrium condition, if these couple vectors are going to be a closed polygon, it will be equilibrium whether you turn it by 90 degree or 20 degree, opposite or plus. Because once it is a closed polygon in any orientation, it should be same. Isn't it? So we are not violating the fundamental rule, we are using this particular the small violation so that it will be easier for us to draw the couple vectors of these forces. Do you have any doubt, please? So we are shifting the forces created by this into a single plane, and you are having a system of concurrent forces, system of concurrent moments. Okay, so the couple vectors, if you draw the polygon using this couple vector, it should close. If it is not closing, then it is not balanced. Okay. Now what is the next step? Now you know how to compute the magnitude of the couple vectors. For balancing problem only, you are permitted to draw them in the same direction of the forces, so that is easier for you. So draw the couple vectors of each one. The couple vector of M1, you see the direction, that is M1, that is in the other side of it, so this will be your C1, and this will be your C2, and this vector will be representing C3, and the couple of this is C4. These four couple vectors are represented like this. Now you draw the polygon. So you take in any order. For example, I take C2 first, then I put the C3 over here, then I can have the C1, then I can have the C4, like this. Now I have to find out, for equilibrium, this couple vector polygon should be closed. So I have to introduce an equivalent couple. I made a mistake last time about the previous problem. I took the equilibrium. There you have to be taking the resultant, because already we were working on the masses to be placed in two planes for achieving the balance. So there we require a resultant. But here we are not working at the resultant. So we are finding out the actual couple which are produced. So we have to find out the equivalent. This is the equivalent couple. How this couple will be produced? This is the equilibrium couple. You worked out this. So this is going to be something like some mass, some at some radius, and it is omega square. Of course, omega square we are not going to take it consistently for all couple vectors also. It is at a particular length L. Okay, so I have to introduce another force, another mass in this orientation so that it will produce a couple vector that will balance. So in this system, what I have to do is in this direction I have to introduce a couple. Okay, so let me rub this. So when it comes here, it is going to be your equilibrium couple. For producing a couple, the force should be away from that. Okay, where that I will introduce? That will I introduce in a balancing plane M. I have one more balancing plane M. I will introduce that mass that will produce the necessary equilibrium couple. So this is the equilibrium couple that I will say that is produced by balancing, putting the mass at M. So its magnitude of that, this is measured, that is coming by the mass M or M. Then the distance between the two planes is D. Then omega square is anyway it's not taken. So this is your value. What you have to find out is that M. Okay. So in this direction, preferably, so this is the direction in which I will put the mass here at radius Rm in the plane M, so that it will, when this particular, the force created by this is shifted to this plane, it will produce this equilibrium force, an equilibrium couple, and also it will introduce the force. You just think of, now I am providing one more mass here at an orientation. I am going to shift that. When I shift it, I am sure that it will produce a couple that will balance all the couples. But the force will come into existence. So when I introduce that here, okay, you will have a force that is F. And the couple of that will be in the perpendicular direction here. Okay, I think that is Fm. Originally it will be Fm. That will be exactly in the 90 degrees. So what we are doing is we are introducing a mass, the balanced mass at the plane M. When you shift that here, it will produce a force and a couple. This couple is the equilibrium couple. So the couple C4, C1, C3 and Cm together will balance each other. So I can forget about that, but that particular point is taken care. So what is left is, you have a system of forces are to be balanced. So these system of forces are to be balanced. So what we do is draw a polygon, find out the closing side of that polygon, because still you have to find out the equilibrium force only. That is the mass to be placed in plane L, because you require only force, no couple, so that can be achieved by putting the mass only at this plane L. So that is the logic of this method too. You have any doubt, please? Yeah. Correct.
So now when we are introducing the equilibrium also, it will also, over that also the original direction of that, should that be also like a 90 degree?
No. These are couples rotated by 90 degree for convenience. Okay. So whatever direction, that is the direction at which I have to provide the mass also. Okay. That is how I have decided this direction of the mass. Okay. So obviously that force will be in that direction, because this plane is on this side where everything will be considered to be along the direction of this. Suppose the plane is on this side, it will be in the opposite direction. Okay? Did I answer your question? Okay. Okay, so this is, you are vulnerable to make mistake. So what we do is, when to know which side is plus and which side is minus. To have that, very simple thing we can do. That is, we can say, taking this as a reference, plane L, about which you are going to transfer all this thing. This side you can say this is minus L. Whatever the distance you are marking here is L2 is positive, L3 is positive, L4 is positive, this distance D is positive. You can, by assigning the distance from this plane L and one side all positive and other side as negative, then automatically, when there is a negative side, you are bound to draw the couple vector in the opposite direction. So that's the way you can do it. But to avoid any, the syntax error, the mistakes of plus and minus like that, a structured approach is there to take you through. That is using the tabulation what we have suggested earlier. You can prepare a tabulation. So that tabulation will consist of, you will routinely, it will take you step by step. So let me quickly, do you have any other question? Otherwise I will just draw the structure of the table. Yeah.
Why do we do first shift the couple directions in the direction of the force, then find the equilibrium couple and then go to the force? Then why do we do the whole thing? First find the force equilibrium and then go to the couple and the couple.
Okay. Why you first do the couple equilibrium, find out the equilibrium couple, then force? Why not the reverse? For example, if I do the reverse, I do not know this. What is the force that is acting on this plane M? I don't have any idea about what is the force which is acting on plane M. I don't know anything about this direction, magnitude like that. Is it not? If I do the reverse, I should be knowing all the forces except one force. So here what is the problem? We do not know, two forces are not known. So if you first follow the couple will come from the plane which is just away from it. So I can determine the force that is to be produced or the balancing mass to be placed in M. Then I can shift that here, so the couples will be balanced, but forces are not still balanced. I draw the force vector. That's a good question, but if you follow the other reverse direction, you will not get it, because you don't know the force to find all the forces to find out the force equilibrium. Okay, so first you have to calculate the couple equilibrium, then you have to ensure the forces are all in equilibrium. So if you do the force this thing also, you will get to know at what direction this is to be placed, that is M, L at RL. Now the table approach, what will be, if I follow these notations, I can say, I can prepare a table where you have plane, then mass, then radius, then force, then distance from L, then you have a couple. The force divided by omega square, this divided by omega square, because we don't take omega. Now if I prepare a table like this, you can take plane A1, that mass is M1, then at radius R1, the force is M1 R1, omega square divided by omega square here. The distance from this is L1 minus, because on the left hand side, then the couple will be with the proportional to the magnitude M1 R1 L1 with a negative sign here. Then plane, you can say L, this is ML, this is RL. We do not know this, but you just to put the number. You think ML RL, you have this is ML RL. This distance is 0, this will be 0. Then plane A2, this is M2 R2, M2 R2. This is L2, but it is plus sign. So you will have M2 R2 L2. Then you have A3, this is M3 R3, M3 R3 plus L3, this is M3 R3 L3. Then you have plane M, which is coming next. So you have M RM. This distance, this is M RM. Then distance, this distance I'll call it as D. Then you will have M RM D. This is again positive. Then you have what is left, it is A4, this is M4, R4, this is M4, R4, this is plus sign L4, this is M4, R4, L4. So this table is to be filled up. When you are drawing the couple polygon, it is now clear. This should be in the opposite direction at which M1 is there. And of course this is 0. This is M2 R2 L2. This magnitude of the couple vector in the same direction of M2. This is the same direction of M3. This is the same direction of M4. You can draw this thing, only this is unknown. So this unknown will be found out by getting the equilibrium of this couple vectors. So this D is known by dividing the whatever value you get this. From the vector diagram you know what is the angle also. So that theta M you can find out from the coupled diagram. So this is complete now. Then you can go to the force equilibrium by this table. So here, what are the unknowns? You can see that this is already computed. This is all known now. Only this is unknown. That you can find out by drawing the force vector polygon and find out the equilibrium. That will give you the direction and the magnitude of this. So at what is a theta L, you can find out. So what you will be expected to do is this also you have to do in the, because you are going to draw the vector diagrams, so you have to do it the mini drafter session. So same problem will be given, one problem is given, you have to do it in both method and see that you are getting the same answers on both. Okay, so that's where your learning will be complete. So we close.